Have you ever been trying to get the first Monday of a month, or maybe a Monday before or on a specific date? We're going to walk through both of those scenarios in this video. I'm going to show you the formulas we can use to accomplish this, and we're going to break down why they accomplish the things that they do. All right, so first of all, let me explain these formulas real quick. So here we have it just in text, and then here it's in the cell actually populating the result. And so just if you're curious, there's just a single tick before the equal sign, and that just turns into text. So if you want to modify these formulas, so right now these are set up for Monday. And I have a little chart over here with the weekday number. So you can see this C4, which is over here, is wrapped in weekday. And so that's actually returning a number for each day. And so if you notice, right after mod, I have 2. And I have the same thing here, 2. And the same thing here, 2. And the same thing all the way down here, 2. And so that's for Monday. So if you want it to be Sunday, you change that 2 to a 1. If you want it to be Saturday, you change that 2 to a 7. So just like that. And that would work for getting the first Saturday of a month. All right, so that out of the way, let's actually walk through how these formulas work. So first of all, let's start with this second one, because this is actually part of what we're going to do up here. So if we look down here, we have B15, which is our first of the month. And so we're going to walk through the easy one first. I'm going to explain why we have to make this more complicated. And essentially, we have to convert this into the first of the month. So we have the first of the month, and then we're adding 2 minus weekday B15. So what are we doing? So weekday, if we just do weekday on this date, comes up with 3. So what that tells us, if we look over at our handy little chart here, is that July 1st was a Tuesday. So if we're trying to get the nearest Monday, well, Monday is 2. So if we do 2 minus 3, that's going to give us -1, which is why this goes back 1. And so if we go to a different month, so here we go, here's a good one. So Friday, and so there's our weekday is 6. So 2 minus 6 is -4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that rewinds us back to the 28th. And so we can change this if we wanted to be a different day of the week. And so, for example, this is Friday. So if we want to go to Thursday instead, we change this 2 and go over our handy chart. Go to Thursday, it's 5. And now we're 7:31. So we go back here, that's rewinding 1 day. And that's because we look here, here's 5, our weekday is 6. So it would be 5 minus 6 is -1. All right, so that's how that works. Now, this looks a lot more complicated down here under any date, and this will accept any date. So this could be something like today, it could be just whatever dynamic date that you're generating or entering. And so what we're doing here is we're converting this date into the first of the month. And so let me just show you real quick here. What I'm doing is end of the month, this. And then what we can do in end of the month is we could do something like 0, and it's going to get the end of the current month. So July 16 to July 31. But what end of month allows you to do is -1, and that gets you the end of the previous month. And if we add 1 day, that gets us to the first of the month. So in this formula, this whole thing here is to get this to the first of the month. And so if we reduce this and reduce this, it's going to look like this, just with end of the month -1 plus 1, end of the month -1 plus 1. So hopefully that helps to simplify the formula in your mind. And so let's now jump into get the first specific weekday of a month. So how would we get the first Monday of a month? Because sometimes the first Monday is prior to that day. So what if it's the 28th? So let's go ahead and go to August 1st. And here we can see it returns August 4th, which you can see is over here. So what's happening? How is it getting this? So if you look at these, the difference is we're wrapping this one with mod and 7 at the end. So long story short, what this mod does, and so let me just put something in here, mod, and then what are we putting in mod? We're doing this 2 minus weekday. So let's get that weekday here of this date. So 6. So if we go mod 2 minus 6, and so that result is -4. So what's happening if we go to 7 is we get 3. So essentially what it's doing is it's taking that -4 and it's adding and figuring out where it falls into 7, because we have a 7-day week, right? And so this is using increments of 7 and saying if we're going to fast forward, where will we wind up? And so it's 3. So if you can tell, we have -4, we wind up with 3, and that's the difference. And so modulus is dividing. And so it's weird with negative numbers, but that is how it functions. And so this does a little magic and gives us how many days we need to add to find the next one. And so let's go to one where the Monday is the same day. So let's rewind a little bit. If we can find one. There we go. So there we have 2, and it's the same day because it's 2 minus 2. So 0, modulus is 7, and then that gives us saying 0 to get there. All right, so that's how that works. And then essentially we're doing the exact same thing that we did down here in here. And so we're doing that end of the month, -1 plus 1. And I'm just wrapping in parentheses, so that way this happens first. And so once we get the first of the month from this date, then we can do our mod, and there is our 2. So again, if you need a different day of the month, that's where you change it. Then we have our weekday. So same thing as there, weekday. And then we do our conversion again, just like that. And then once we have our weekday of the first of the month, now we can finish with our 7. And so that is how that formula works. So that's it for today's video. Make sure to check out the other videos on our channel for more tutorials on both Google Sheets and AppScript. And as always, have a great day.